Hey Vikings Nation, what's up family? Turn the volume up because today we're diving into one of the most emotional, complex, and revealing moments of the Minnesota Vikings season. This isn't just another recap. This is about pride, pain, and the path forward. The end of the 2025 season hit differently. No playoffs, no January football at US Bank Stadium. But at the same time, something powerful happened down the stretch that deserves real attention. So stay with me, because we're breaking down the season-ending press conferences, the big coaching news, the uncertainty around Brian Flores, and some serious offensive line truths that could shape the future of the Minnesota Vikings. Let's talk about it, Vikings fans. It's hard to describe the end of the 2025 Vikings season with just one word. It was frustrating, emotional, and honestly bittersweet. Watching playoff games from the couch is never acceptable in Minnesota. But at the same time, finishing the season on a 5-game winning streak showed something that stats alone can't explain. This team didn't quit. They didn't fold. They fought. That fight is exactly what head coach Kevin O'Connell and general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah focused on when they met with the Twin Cities media, and their words tell us a lot about where this franchise really is. Kevin O'Connell didn't sugarcoat anything. He admitted straight up that this season was not what the Vikings planned or hoped for. No excuses, no deflection. But what stood out was how much pride he had in how the team finished. Through adversity, injuries, inconsistency, and pressure, this group stayed together. O'Connell made it clear, watching his players continue to fight, continue to believe, and continue to strive for success meant everything to him as a coach. He didn't stop there. O'Connell gave massive credit to the coaching staff, calling their perseverance through a difficult season a true testament to their character. Finishing 5-0 down the stretch wasn't luck. It was preparation, belief, and leadership when things could have easily collapsed. And above all else, O'Connell emphasized one thing: the players, the locker room culture, the unity. That's the foundation he's building in Minnesota. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah echoed that same emotion, but with a sharp edge of disappointment. He admitted it clearly. Missing the playoffs is not the standard for the Minnesota Vikings. It's not the standard for the building, and it's definitely not the standard for the fans who bleed purple every Sunday. Still, Kwesi also made it clear that how the season ended matters. The resilience shown late gave him confidence in the core of this roster. Kwesi talked about flashes, moments where the Vikings looked like the team they wanted to be. The problem wasn't talent. It was consistency. Turning flashes into reality over a full 17-game season is now the mission. And that's where the real work begins. One of the biggest announcements from the press conference hit hard emotionally. Assistant head coach Mike Pettine is retiring. 4 seasons with the Vikings, a massive influence on the defense, and a deep personal connection with Kevin O'Connell. This wasn't just another staff move. This was the end of a coaching chapter that mattered deeply inside the building. Pettine's impact on players was undeniable. Jonathan Greenid and Andrew Van Ginkel both earned their first Pro Bowl selections under his guidance. Greenid finished with 12 sacks. Van Ginkel had 11.5. They were the only duo in the entire NFL to both record at least 11.5 sacks. That doesn't happen by accident. That's coaching, development, and trust. O'Connell spoke from the heart when talking about Pettine. He credited him for shaping his own football journey, both as a player and a coach. Pettine gave O'Connell his first opportunity to coach in the NFL, and later became a foundational piece when O'Connell arrived in Minnesota in 2022. That kind of relationship goes beyond football. It's respect, loyalty, and legacy. Pettine's NFL journey is long and respected. From the Ravens in 2002 to head coach of the Browns, to his key role with the Vikings. His fingerprints are all over this defensive identity. His retirement creates a void not just in scheme but in leadership. And now the big question shifts to another defensive leader, Brian Flores. The future of defensive coordinator Brian Flores was one of the hottest topics in the room, and for good reason. Flores has transformed this Vikings defense into something aggressive, physical, and unpredictable. And when you coach like that, head coaching interviews are going to come calling. Kevin O'Connell made it clear, the Vikings have been aggressive in trying to retain Flores, while fully respecting his opportunities elsewhere. Flores has already interviewed, and more interviews wouldn't be a surprise. He's earned that attention. O'Connell spoke with genuine excitement for Flores, praising everything he's brought to the organization over the past 3 years. From vision to execution, from philosophy to results, Flores has left a massive impact on this team. And maybe most importantly, their relationship is strong, honest, constant communication. O'Connell emphasized that they talk almost every day. There's no secrecy, no tension, just transparency. Flores has made it clear he wants to stay in Minnesota as defensive coordinator, but he also deserves to fully explore head coaching opportunities. That balance is delicate, but O'Connell expressed confidence that something can get done to keep Flores in purple. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah added another layer to the conversation, breaking down what really defines Flores' defense. Versatility, physicality, edge setting, tackling, the fundamentals that great defenses are built on. While Flores' scheme looks unique, the core values are universal, and that's important if a transition ever becomes necessary. Kwesi made it clear, even if Flores leaves, the Vikings know what defensive identity they want. That statement alone tells you this front office is thinking long-term. Now let's talk about one of the most frustrating parts of the 2025 season, the offensive line. Minnesota invested heavily last offseason to fix the interior offensive line. The plan was solid, but reality hit hard. Injuries destroyed continuity almost immediately. Only one addition, Flores, managed to play the entire season without injury. The Vikings used 26 different offensive line combinations in 2025. Let that sink in. Kwesi admitted the lineup they expected to play together barely saw the field. Just 83 snaps. That's not development. That's survival. Kwesi took accountability, but also provided context. Sometimes the season becomes an outlier. The question now is how to learn from that chaos without ignoring the lessons it taught. Christian Darrisaw became a central focus of that discussion. Coming back from an ACL tear is never simple, and Darrisaw experienced setbacks throughout the season. But Kwesi emphasized something important. Time is on their side. Another full year of rehab, strength building, and recovery could make a massive difference. The Vikings know exactly how important Darrisaw is when he's healthy. That's why addressing depth at left tackle is now a priority. Kwesi made it clear the goal is always to have the next guy step in without a massive drop-off. Is that realistic? Not always, but that mindset shapes championship rosters. Depth isn't optional. It's essential, and that brings us full circle to what this season really was. Not a failure, not a success, but a foundation. A season that tested belief, culture, and leadership. A season that ended without playoffs, but with momentum. Now Vikings Nation, I want to hear from you. How do you feel about how the Minnesota Vikings finished 2025? Do you believe this momentum matters heading into 2026? What should be the top priority? Retaining Brian Flores, rebuilding the offensive line, or something else entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, subscribe for non-stop Minnesota Vikings news, and share this with every Vikings fan you know. This is just the beginning. Skol. Purple Heart American Football.